What's up, everybody? This is episode 67 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody that's been supporting us thus far. For those who haven't, seen any of our work, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. But without further ado, we have a very special guest here tonight. This guy, he was one of Philly's top high school players back when he was in high school. Played Division I basketball at Wake Forest and Villanova University, and is now an up-and-coming filmmaker. I give you tonight, Mr. Tony Chennault. Tony, thank you for coming on, to share your story, because I know it's a good one.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. I really appreciate it, man. I like the work you're doing. Keep it up.
I appreciate that, man. So let's first things first. When did basketball first come into your life?
When I was younger, man, I had two older brothers, and, they love the game of basketball. And in order for me to hang out with them, I had to learn how to play. So I was forced to play against older guys and, forced to learn how to compete just to get on the court so I could hang around my older brothers showing the mic.
That's what's up. So what part of Philly are you from, and what's the basketball culture like out there?
I grew up in Olney. It's like a small area. And kind of like Olney, Logan section of Philadelphia, any other typical neighborhood in America, drugs, violence, things like that. But basketball was our way out. The basketball culture, as you know, in Philadelphia is rich. There's a great line of great players came from Philly: Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe, Rasheed Wallace, Kyle Lowry, Deion Waiters, the Morrison twins. So, just being able to go to every basketball court. I grew up in the era in Philadelphia where you go to courts like 10th and Olney, 25th and Diamond, and just play pickup all day. That's how we really learn how to play. We ain't had no trainers in middle school and high school. We just go to different courts, play pickup, and compete, and that's how we got better.
Yeah, man. So Olney, that's once you get out that train station.
You've been to 10th and Olney. You came to the shows.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I've been out there a couple times.
That's one of the parts I grew up playing at.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Once you get out that train station, you see, yo, you really in the hood. So on this side is the Chosen League, which I love that part. You know what I'm saying? I wish that Raheem Shah that he could have kept it there, but on the other hand, concrete isn't always good for your knees, and I guess it was time for him to make that move to Fidanci.
Yeah.
But on the other side, you got LaSalle University. So I'm sure, you got the best of both worlds, the playground education and the D1 education.
No, for sure. And, when I was a kid, I wasn't old enough to play, but I would go up to John Harnett workouts, and I would watch, Aaron McKee, Allen Iverson would come up there, when Lou Willis first got drafted to the Sixers, and other pros, would be up there competing, and I would just, be like a ball boy, wiping the floor just to watch those guys compete. And sometimes he might let me get in a couple drills to shoot. So, and that would happen at LaSalle University every day in the summertime. All the top college and NBA pros would go up there and work out and play pickup.
Okay. So, when you were a young man, a young youth, I should say, what tournaments did you like playing in Philly?
Future Stars tournament was a really good tournament. That was the one at Villanova. What else? We had this another tournament called Survival of the Fittest that was ran by my Oldhead Shoe from the All City Classic.
Shout out to Shoe.
What else we had? We didn't really have, besides those two, we didn't really have that many tournaments. Outside of Philly, I love going and playing Charlie Weber in D.C. The Spring Fling, Jimmy Salmons in North Jersey, Rumble in the Bronx in New York. Those type of tournaments where you just play against those other good teams from other areas.
Yeah, man. Shout outs to Jimmy Salmon with the players. He still runs good tournaments. Rumble in the Bronx. Shout outs to Chris Oden, who runs that. That tournament used to be really, really good back in the day.
If you don't understand, that was a really competitive team from all over the country used to come play in the Rumble in the Bronx. That was a major Nike tournament back when,
The downside to that is when those rules came into effect that tournaments could no longer play at Division I venues. Mm-hmm. So I think because of that that kind of hurt a lot of things for that particular tournament,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. But it's still a decent tournament, and you might catch a few elite players playing in that. Because if they're not playing with their main team, they're playing with somebody else. So there's still a chance you might still get to see some talent. But the tournament itself, as far as the level of comp, isn't what it once was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So moving forward, so were you a Sixers fan growing up?
Oh, diehard Sixers fan. Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson. Then later on, you had Iguodala, Lou Williams, and all those guys. Yeah, I'm a diehard Sixers fan.
Like, what
It's
did
tough.
it mean?
Tough
What did it? Oh yeah,
playoffs.
go ahead.
It was a tough playoffs though, real tough.
Oh yeah, man.
Got swept.
It's a shame. Yeah, man. So, what did it feel like? Seeing Allen Iverson growing up.
It
Like
was.
how big was it? To have him represent Philly in the way he did.
I think Allen Iverson is the epitome of what Philadelphia is. Tough, tough, a lot of heart, don't care, radical with a purpose, underdog, and those all the things that Philadelphia represents as a whole. No matter what walk of life you come from Philadelphia, people from Philly just walk around with a chip on our shoulder because we like the little brother to New York, and we always felt like a little brother like the New York and big cities like Chicago and things like that. So we always felt like we always had to prove ourselves, no matter what you was doing, especially in basketball. And Allen Iverson was always undersized, so he always had to feel like he proved himself on the court. And we took that energy from him, and that inspired thousands of youth from Philadelphia to want to be basketball players.
I hear that, man, for sure. So, what made you decide to go to Neumann-Goretti?
Um, that's a good question. Philadelphia is territory, as you know. So I'm from Olney, right? And Neumann-Goretti's in South Philly. So those are two completely separate parts of the city. So in saying that, when I went to Neumann-Goretti, many people who weren't from South Philly didn't go to school down there because it was just like South Philly, stay in South Philly. Is there any areas like that in New York? Like maybe like Coney Island? If you're from Coney Island, you stay in Coney Island?
Nah, I get what you're trying to say. Like, yeah, like, nah, we don't have that anymore. Like, I know when I was growing up, like, the city, the Board of Ed, they tried to keep people in their zone school. So if you live in
Well,
a certain area,
I'm not talking more so zoning. I'm talking
right?
about more so like just the culture.
No,
Like,
yeah, well, no. We never had that. But sometimes with gang issues, people, things could happen to people just for walking in the wrong neighborhood. That
mhm.
I know about that. But as far as like school situations, I never think we had any of that. No.
And continuing, like, I went there because one, Johnny Moscow, the coach of Wood now, was a great recruiter. He did a great job of convincing me to go there. And then two, it was the best school in Philly at the time. And I'm an ultra competitor, so if I'm the best, I want to prove I could play at the best school and be one of the best players that ever came out of that school, which I think I did a good job of doing in my 4 years there. So, but like I said, when I went there, it was kind of like unheard from somebody from out that neighborhood to go there and have a type of career that I had there, being from Olney and traveling 30 minutes every day to go to school.
And then I know you had to take that train, and then
And
you had to
so,
get off at Tasker Moores, and you
yeah,
had to walk like a good 5 to 10 minutes just to get to
yeah,
school every
I
day.
to school every day. So I was wake up like I went from like walking to school from my middle school in my neighborhood to waking up every day 6 o'clock just to make it on school like on time every day like 7:15.
Yeah, so what was it like, being at a Catholic school? Like, I know all your peoples went to public schools in the area. You chose a different route. Like, talk about that school camaraderie.
It was different. I think I needed Catholic school though because it provided me the discipline that I was liking, and it helped me create infrastructure for my life moving forward. So by the time I got to college, I understood what being on the schedule was like. I understood like going to tutoring because that was things that they mandated when I was at Newman. Make sure you go to tutoring and things like that. So I already had that preparation prior to going to college. And, that allowed me to be ready, not only in college, but beyond college and, help me be successful.
So, like, let's talk about the team. Like, talk about, some of the dudes that you played with. And did you guys win the PCL 4 years in a row?
No, we didn't win the PCL 4 years in a row. When I got there my freshman year, I was playing with Scoop Jardine and Rick Jackson. We lost my freshman year to Roman Catholic, who had Bradley Wanamaker, who played for the Celtics, and Malik Williams. And then my sophomore year, we lost in the playoffs. Then my junior and senior year, we got really good. That's when we was nationally ranked in the country. And then by the time my senior year, we finished number 2 in the country. And the only team we lost to that year was Yates, who was number 1 in the country by 1 in Hawaii.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know that. Just think about it. So our team was maybe like, if you think of like a New York team, think of like that Rice team with that 4 guards and that one like big with Kimba and all those guys. Our team was similar to that. And we just played 1-4 out and we guarded full court and we smacked every team that year. Smacked Preston King from New York, Simeon from Chicago, Montrose had Terrence Ross, smacked them, Justin Anderson. So we were just smacking everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you guys used to be really, really good. Still are, but you guys were tough back in those days, man.
I think it's a different type of, I'm not in the basketball world how I used to be, but just watching as a fan, I think the game of basketball has changed drastically where it's so more rely on skill. When I played was just more toughness, more grit. You know what I mean? So, and that's what everybody had on my team, whether it's me, Tyree Duren, Lamont Fulton, Mustafa Jones, or Danny Stewart. We was just all tough.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, talk about, playing at the Palestra.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like playing for that PCL championship?
Oh, man, playing at the Palestra, I think I was blessed to play a lot of places, Duke, Syracuse, Carolina, but I feel like playing at the Palestra for the Philadelphia Catholic Championship was the best thing, was the best environment, me personally. Like, crowds over top of you, everybody's yelling. The student sections is, like, really engaged into the game. And, you know what I mean? And just that intensity and that back and forth action that I think was very memorable for me.
I could say this because I've been going to the PCL championship game for the last 4 years. And we have our championships in New York every year at Fordham. PCL tops.
Is that the public league or the Catholic
No,
league?
the public league. We play the PSAL, they play their championship games at Madison Square Garden. The Catholic League, they play their games at Fordham. But even so, those crowds are nothing compared to what the PCL got. Nothing. Like, the year Lance Stevenson was a sophomore, after that game, there was a big fight. So because of that, and this is between 2 schools in Brooklyn too, them and boys and girls. So they had a rivalry going at that time. So
I remember they had the female coach.
Right.
She was a good coach. I remember them back in the day.
Yeah, she's still there. But after that fight, the Garden, basically they had to play those games early. Because of that, now they have to play those games early. And then basically the crowds are cut off like different sides of the arena. Because, Madison Square Garden is about 19,000 seats. So, yeah, it's not what it once – the PSL championship game isn't what it once was, But, I mean, depending on who's playing, it could still be good. Now, the Catholic League, Fordham seats at least a good 3,000. The Palestra seats at least 9,000. So that's double the –
I think the structure of Fordham is a little bit different.
Right.
Where the Palestra, the crowd is actually over top of the court.
Yeah.
It's not like that in Fordham, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's like you feel the intensity more.
Nah, the Palestra, like I said, it's second to none.
I played Palestra in college. It's nothing like the Philadelphia Catholic Palestra environment. The Philadelphia Catholic Palestra environment is by far the best games at the Palestra. It's not even close.
Right.
And you can ask anybody that played in the Catholic and anybody that played in the Big Five, they will tell you the difference.
Yeah, man. Now let's talk about the Neumann home games. Like, your gym is reminiscent of the old Boston Garden. Like y'all got banners everywhere. And then like sometimes you guys were so good that the gym was too small for the overflow crowds. Like how was it when you guys played a team like Roman in that gym?
And it'd be bad because like, you know, they'd give you like 2 or 3 tickets and you feel bad that like you can't get everybody in. So like you'll tell your family and your friends, like, listen, bro, you want to get to this game, you gotta show up with me at halftime of the JV game. That's the only way I get you in. You can't move out your seat.
I
Like the
believe
Philly,
that.
like Roman Newman games, especially like when Malik was playing and I was in high school, like I'm talking about jam packed, like standing room, standing on top of the court. And those are the environments you love as a player, and those are the moments you work hard for to put yourself in that opportunity and show what you can do and stand out.
Yeah, man. I love Neumann-Goretti, man. Love that gym. But so how was it playing for Team Philly, AAU wise?
It was good. I played I think I played for Lonnie one summer, then the next summer Kyle Sample coached me. It's a good learning experience. You know, similar like the Newman, you know, a lot of guards. Um, we travel, we play on the Adidas circuit. You know, the practices was real intense. Like that's the thing that was kind of cool about it. Like most AAU teams didn't practice, but like our practices was like kind of like college practices. Like we really competed in practice, and I think that's what made us a lot better.
Shout outs to Carl Arigale, man. That dude is the truth as far as coaching.
Yeah.
So outside of that, let's talk a little bit of street ball.
Mm-hmm.
How was it playing at the Chosen League? For those that may not know about the Chosen League.
I played in the original. So the funny story, I played in the Chosen League the first summer it started. So it had 2 age groups. So the main age group was like the high school, like 11th and 12th graders, which Mustafa Shakur was like the GOAT back then. That was like one of my idols and mentors growing up. That's his court, Tiff and Olney. So like when he would come to the park, like everybody would come to the games. And then I played in the junior league, which was like 8th and 9th graders. So I'm like the only chosen league player ever. And you can ask Raheem that got the most championships. I won about 4 championships in the chosen league. From the junior league all the way up to the main league. But the chosen league was great though. Like it was, like I said, it's fully basketball at its finest. Summer basketball, you got people cooking on the grill, my man on the mic talking trash, everybody in the crowd talking trash to you, and you gotta show what you can do in that type of environment. That type of environment, see if you got heart or not. And you know, if you're not built like that, you're not built for this type of environment, you get exposed. You know.
Do you feel like that environment helped prepare you for like bigger games?
Yeah, it makes you battle tested. Like if you got somebody on the court saying like, "Yo, you scored, you ain't gonna make it out of here. You ain't gonna make it out this park." Like
I believe that. Yeah,
different, like mentality. So it's just like it makes you tough. Like you flag that dude, I'm getting 30 now, and I'm gonna talk to you the whole night.
that's crazy, man. So in high school, you were getting so many offers. You were the number 8 point guard in the nation. You only lost 20 games in 4 years at Neumann, which is awesome.
And whole majority of those games came my sophomore year because that was a transitional year for it. So 10 of those games came, probably 10 to 12 of my sophomore year. 10 to 12 of those games came from my sophomore year. Just think about that.
Hey.
So when you look like 3 games are my freshman year, and 1 my senior year, and like 2 my junior year.
That's crazy. But yeah, we was about to say, oh yeah. So you decided to make that move to the ACC out of high school. You chose Wake Forest. Like you had Pittsburgh, Providence, St. Joe's, Nova, and Virginia. What made you decide to go to Wake Forest?
I just felt like it was a great school for me at the time in my career. You know, Chris Paul went to Wake Forest, Tim Duncan, Jeff Teague, Ish Smith. So they have a great lineage of producing NBA guys. And, you know, my ultimate goal at that particular time in my life was to play in the NBA. So why not play in the best conference in college basketball and compete and show what I can do on the national stage.
Mm. So that first year, 2011 and 12, that was your legit first year?
No, 2010 and 2011 was my first year. For sure.
Nova got it wrong. But yeah, talk about your first year in the ACC. You went from playing in the PCL to playing in the ACC against Duke, UNC, NC State. Talk about playing at Tobacco Road against them teams.
It was a great experience. Playing at Duke, it's a great environment, North Carolina. And it's the ACC, it's a very skilled conference. Guys are really talented, so you gotta be ready to play, especially when you're playing against those type of teams on a nightly basis. But me playing, like I said, in the Chosen League and the Philadelphia Catholic League prepared me for these moments that allowed me to be productive when I was out there on the floor.
So you did another year at Wake Forest,
Mm-hmm.
And then you decided to dip out after the season. Like, what made you decide to break out of Wake Forest?
Man, leaving Wake Forest was a very difficult decision for me. I developed lifelong relationships there. The student body was really embracing of me. I felt like the team had a chance to get better the following year, but my mom was experiencing some health complications. And, my mom is, probably one of my most influential people in my life, her and my brother, oldest brother. So, that made me decide to transfer back to Villanova to be closer to her. So I could spend more time with her. When I was at Wake, I was coming home once a year, sometimes twice. So that was kind of difficult, and she couldn't really travel as much.
Right.
So, me going back to home was really solely to be with her.
And unfortunately, Mama Morton passed away. How long ago was it?
She passed away, it's 2027 years ago. So she passed away after my junior year, going into my senior year. Yeah, August, yeah. So
Rest in peace, Miss Morton.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, you came back to Nova.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like it was a second chance opportunity? Because they did recruit you in high school, but you chose Wake Forest. Like, talk about that opportunity aside from the personal stuff that was going on.
It was tough when I came back to Nova. My brother just got killed as an innocent bystander. So that whole first half of my junior year, I wasn't in the right state of mind. I was trying to push through, but it was a lot of things going on at home in terms of just worrying about my family safety, that I wasn't in the right state of mind to be the player that everybody knew I can be. And it was just a lot of just transitional things happening in my life at that time. But going through that experience made me so tough. I went from being a starter and had to learn how to come off the bench and still be productive. I went from being in a situation I'm the second option or third option. Now I'm asking to play a role that I've never been accustomed to in my life. And going to Villanova just allowed me to learn what it means to be selfless. You know what I mean? And you get a point in your life and your career where you're going to have to become selfless. Whether you have a family, you make a sacrifice to take a job, you make a sacrifice for your wife or your husband, you're going to have to sacrifice to become selfless at some point in your life. So in that situation, I was just asked to do that a lot earlier than what others going to be asked to do in their life. That makes sense.
So talk about your relationship with Coach Wright.
It was we had some ups and downs. I was at Villanova, be transparent. Like, a lot of times I felt like I wasn't getting a fair opportunity to show what I can do. But, I respect Coach Wright because every day he challenged me, no matter what, to be the best basketball player I can be and to be the best man I can be. And, when I was there, he always used to say, I know you don't think this is the right thing for you, but this is the best decision you're making for your life beyond basketball by being here. And I didn't understand that at that moment because as any kid from the inner city, I just want to play. I just want to hoop. I got so much shit going on in my personal life. This court's my sanctuary. Let me play. So I didn't understand the things that was going to happen beyond the court, the opportunities I would have beyond the court. And it wasn't until I left Villanova that I really understood it. You know what I mean? So when you're in that moment, sometimes you can't understand what someone much older had more wisdom and experience can kind of tell you and communicate to you.
Right. And, talk about graduating from Nova.
Yeah, it was major. That was the most important thing, man, because you see a lot of guys, a lot of my friends, man, they go to schools for 4 years and don't graduate.
And,
it's going to get a point in our lives, man, like this basketball could take us all around the world, provide us with opportunities, but we can't let the game of basketball use us. We have to use the game of basketball. The game of basketball has to be able to provide us with opportunities beyond the court. It has to be that vehicle for us. And I think a lot of us get stuck because sometimes our community enable us, the coaches enable us, the professors enable us. So in that, we got to get back and teaching these young kids accountability.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where you got to become your own man, and you won't have to fend for yourself in order to survive. And when I lost my brother, my mom, I was that. I didn't have nobody. It wasn't no running back home with just me and my other brother who 2 years apart. So we both going through the same thing. We both experiencing that pain at the same time. So it's no more mommy, daddy, like, no, figure it out. You're a man. And this all while I'm in college, on your senior year. So it was a real moment for me, but it's something I'm happy I went through because it made me tougher, allowed me to be the man I am today, that I have a solid foundation and infrastructure, which is pivotal for success as a young black man in America.
So you also got to play in well, actually, let me first start off saying I'm sure that was great, man. Graduating from school.
Yeah,
you
man.
Probably
good, bro. Like, you from New York, I'm from Philly. Like, bro, like the hood is the hood.
Yeah.
Saying, like, so for us to be able to graduate, have a degree, man, that was a blessing. Like, the NBA would have been cool too, but like, I'd rather have a degree because that's something nobody that's something nobody will ever be able to take away from.
Yeah. Degree. At first, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I was about to say. So, where I come from in the South Bronx, I'm probably
shout out to the South Bronx, Melrose Projects, McKinley Projects. I shot Oldhead season 3. Randy Hart Pops was one of the producers on season 3. Saw Money, who's from McKinley Projects, one of the hottest rappers in the Bronx right now. I had to get a shout out to my peoples in the Bronx.
Yeah, I was about to say we're gonna get to that, but in my neighborhood, Beekman Avenue, Diego Beekman houses, I'm probably part of the 4% of people that actually graduated from college, man. 4%. The other 96%, we already know what it is. Some people, they have that mentality that we was born here, we raised our kids here, we gonna die here.
We gotta unfortunate culture though, man. Like, it's so much more life. That's why, like, you have that experience, right? Like, you use basketball, and now you're a writer and a blogger, right?
Yeah.
So now, how many kids that you see that's playing now might not make the NBA, but you can aspire to be a writer and a blogger because they see you, dude.
Or cameraman.
Or cameraman, like A-Dot. People don't know A-Dot was a basketball player.
He was.
A-Dot went to Lutheran. A-Dot went to Gratz. He set the bitch on Gratz, and he transferred to Lutheran. A-Dot, we grew up together. He's a little bit older. And he's one of the best sports videographers in the business.
Yeah, man. He came a long way.
Basketball, though. And that's what we have to get back to teaching our athletes, man. We have to teach them how to really start seeking opportunities beyond that court. Because everybody
like, and another thing that you mentioned before, that you alluded to before, like, a lot of people let the game use them. Like you said, certain dudes, they go to college for 4 years or however long, and they don't graduate from the NBA. I'm sorry, they don't graduate from college. And, playing pro ball overseas is rough. Like a lot of dudes, they get drafted or they go another route, but they don't last in the NBA. And then after their playing days is over, like, they fall into depression.
Yeah, because their whole life everybody's giving you everything. You get
Exactly.
you get free meals. Nobody tell you no. Being told no is sometimes good because it
Exactly.
teaches you how to get it on your own.
Yeah.
It teaches you how to be independent, right? So as athletes, we're not told no. So when somebody tell you no, you upset.
Exactly. And that's the thing. A lot of that, and you know, sometimes I feel like some coaches are guilty of
Mm-hmm.
being enablers. Even the college coaches, they may not realize that, but you know that they are in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and then sometimes, like I was listening to a podcast and Dribbling Don's podcast. Shout outs to them. They had this one guy named Chris McCrae. He he went to St. Ray's and went to Hofstra, and he was talking about how during his college years, like he didn't have the best relationships with his coaches over there because he basically compared it to slavery, and he also talked about his high school coach where his high school coach used to play mind games with him, or whatever the case may be. And it seems like this is stuff that still affects him to this day. And he named a whole bunch of his high school teammates that, you know, were psychologically damaged now after things that happened more than 20 years ago. And that's crazy.
No, facts, bro. Facts.
And you got dudes trying to relive their glory days in these street ball tournaments when they were teenagers. But what they don't realize is like, yo, your time is past.
Yeah, and what do you do? What now?
Exactly.
What now? And a lot of us, I'm talking about as a whole, not the white individual. A lot of athletes can't answer that question because we're not preparing for life after basketball. We're in college. Like the kids we're going to school with, some of the kids that work at Nova, they work on Wall Street, J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs,
right?
Fortune 500 companies. Why are you not networking with these kids? Kids go to work at Nike. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Kids go work at Apple. This is your network. Go to these joint different student union groups. This stuff is important. Exactly. And there's some stuff that's not passed on along by our coaches and then just our community as a whole because everybody just got their hopes on go to the league.
Yeah.
And that's the pipe dream.
That's true. So when you were in college, how did it feel playing at the Wells Fargo Center? Or shall I say, was it the Wells Fargo Center back then?
It was regular. Like, I mean, it wasn't nothing special, to be honest with you. It was just an NBA arena. I prefer playing at Nova more because, like, the crowd was more engaged. When you play at the Wells Fargo Center, it's feeling like everybody's so much farther back.
Yeah.
Like, the crowd's so separated from the court. So you didn't really get that, like, real college atmosphere playing at the Wells Fargo Center. But playing at Nova, you got the college atmosphere. Playing, like, at Marquette, playing with other schools, like, Butler. We played Butler. Yeah, that was, like, a real – it's right. Hinkle Fieldhouse, right, in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
That's like a real college atmosphere there, Jim.
I ain't gonna hold you. I never been to a game at the Pavilion. All the games I ever covered were at Wells Fargo.
You gotta go to a game at the Pavilion, man.
I know, but you know, I went to when it first opened, the new Pavilion, like it. And you might have been there that day because I know they had the intra-squad scrimmage that day.
I was there that day.
So yeah,
I was there that day. I think I seen you that day too.
So, I got to see the old Pavilion 10 years ago. Back when basically my old mentor, we was in town, we was in Philly for a girls tournament, and we got to pass through Nova. Like I seen the practice facility and all that. This is when Corey Fisher was still there. But yeah, long story short, you know, I love the improvements that they made to the new Pavilion. It looks like a museum when you walk up in there.
That's how it should look. They won 2 national championships in 3 years. Coach Wright won like 6 or 7 Big East championships. Yeah. Everything over basketball is getting that program deserves.
Yeah. And I was about to say about Wells Fargo. Oh yeah. Another reason why I love Wells Fargo is it's a beautiful arena. Sixers played there. And last but not least, they got the fire now, the pyrotechnics up in the air when they make an announcements. I love that shit, man. I love that.
The intro is definitely dope. Then they ring the bell in the beginning. Yeah, it's a dope intro.
That's crazy. You could actually feel the heat from where you sitting at. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Yo, that's sick. So yeah, after after your playing career was done, I think you and Coach Wright had a conversation about you not wanting to play ball no more. Like, how did that come about?
Honestly, I was tapped out of basketball after my mom died. I just didn't want to do it no more. My love for the game dwindled. Um, I was thinking about just sitting out my whole senior season. And a lot of people don't know that. That's a conversation me and my brother was having. I was having with Coach Wright. Like, man, and he kind of convinced me to just finish it, just finish strong. You never know if that love may come back. So going into my whole senior year, saying that I wanted with the mentality, all right, I know I'm not going to play after college. I need to start figuring out what I'm going to do. So I start taking a bunch of different classes, bro, like advertising, marketing class, film class, screenwriting class. So once I took this screenwriting class with this professor, Steve McWilliams, and I took the class, I fell in love with the class, and I said, this is what I want to do after I graduate. I want to be a filmmaker. This guy, Professor McWilliams, taught me how to set me down, taught me how to write screenplays, taught me the practicality of filmmaking, him and another professor, Professor Hezekiah Lewis. So, and them just, going under their regime of teaching me, I did a short film called Chris. My senior year was like my thesis project, and for my film class, and the synopsis of this short film was like, why in the urban community we don't value our lives, each other's lives, until somebody's is dead or gone, right? And like it was kind of like a mockumentary. And I did that, and I won the Best Director award, and that gave me the confirmation that I can really do this if I continue to work on it like I did basketball, continue to prepare, take a lot of different classes, watch tutorials on YouTube, and that same energy and passion I had for the game of basketball just transitioned to filmmaking.
And then you already answered my question about how did you get into filmmaking, so we can scrap that. You started.
I go a little. When you ask me questions, I try to answer them full.
You already answered that. So we all right. So you started Chennault Productions. Talk about that experience.
It was a good experience. First business I ever started. We was doing like some advertising commercials. We did the first season of the Oldhead web series under that umbrella. It started with 4 friends from college. We just, 5 hungry filmmakers, just want to get our name out there. And we did that, and then eventually Chennault Productions transitioned to Mike J Films, which is the media company that I'm doing all my films and TV shows under right now.
Shout out to Chennault Productions, man. So let's talk about the series Oldhead.
Yeah, let's get into that. So Oldhead came about, I was in college after I did my other short film. I'm like, man, I gotta think of something else I could do. So like, man, I need to write a story about Oldheads, like talks about the importance of Oldhead having on the young person life and how they could steer them down the direction of success. I didn't have my dad in my life. I had coaches, mentors, Oldheads on my block that would check whenever I was out of line. And I wanted to shed light on what these type of figures look like in our community. So, we did the first short film, did the screening at Neumann, in Neumann-Goretti Auditorium. A lot of my former teachers from Neumann came out. Coach Carl came out. And, the thing I loved about it, like my core group of people supported me so much, even though they didn't know nothing about film. They just wanted to be able to help and be able to add value to any capacity, they could add value to what I was doing. And I'm definitely appreciative of that. And then that short film turned into a series, which we was blessed to do 3 series. We shot a lot of the 3rd season in your hood in the Bronx, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Which was cool, shooting all through the Bronx. And it picked up traction, man. I think we got like over 3 million views on our YouTube channel.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. The first episode,
3 million.
one was like 150,000 views. And
Wow.
first like ever online series that had a fully in New York storyline that brought both of those cities together to show unity, and that's what I was trying to do. And I think we did a good job of accomplishing that.
Well, after I finish watching Queen and Slim tonight, I will definitely be watching Oldhead season 3.
Yeah, check it out. It's all on YouTube. You're gonna see a lot of cats you know in there, especially from the Bronx.
I'm gonna definitely check that out for sure.
See a lot of people like, I know him. I know this place. We shot a
Yo,
lot of different places in the Bronx, man.
yeah, so Mike J Films,
Mm-hmm.
you created that as well?
Yes. Yeah, I created in honor of my brother. Before my brother passed, he produced a documentary on one of my cousins who was in the JBM. Talk about his life, glory days, and his untimely demise. And he had big aspirations being a filmmaker. So I want to dedicate something to him that give a voice to the voiceless, and make sure we honor his name, his name right, so it can become legendary.
Rest in peace, Mike J.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're in LA
Mm-hmm.
and you're an associate producer with 8 Hours TV. Talk about, the company 8 Hours TV.
Well, I'm just so like how the business work is like you work project to project. So I'm just really working on a project with 8 Hours TV on this project called 911 Dispatchers. It's about showing like how these 911 dispatchers answer these intense calls, right? Whether it be homicides, robberies, or it can even be lighthearted calls like it's a peacock in the middle of the road. So we show them like what it is to be a dispatcher, 911 dispatcher from their perspective and the things that they go through on a daily basis when they're working.
And it's supposed to be on ABC, right?
ABC airs September 20th.
Wow, that's big right there, man. I'm definitely support. Hopefully, it comes on Hulu too at some point.
Hopefully, ABC got to deal with Hulu. I think it will come on Hulu.
So yeah, I'm gonna definitely be
Yeah,
watching.
man. But like I think my story just is a testament of just being resilient, man. My whole life I was resilient, man, and I never took no for an answer, and I was never afraid of change. I think that a lot of young people got to be able to be open to change and to be open to new things to ultimately become the right person in order for them to reach that high level of success. Because there's a lot of family curses that we have to break, a lot of family barriers we have to break, but you have to be open to break those family barriers. And you want to have to unlearn some things about the way we grow up. We have to have a certain mentality in order to survive in our neighborhood, but
Right.
past that environment, we have to unlearn some of those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So being that you're in LA now, do you ever get to see you ever get to go to some games at the Drew League or any
No,
Lakers games?
yeah. I went to a Clippers game and I went to a Lakers game. I didn't go to get a chance to go to the Drew League because the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Sure, Mike J Films will have a team in the Drew League, which I will be bringing a lot of guys from Philly out here in the East Coast. So that's
Listen,
you could bank on that.
this is
We,
my plan. Next year, I want to go to LA. That was one of my plans for this year to go to LA. But the COVID ended all of that. You
mm-hmm,
know,
mm-hmm.
that was the plan. Like the plan was to go to if Nike was having their academy like they've always done.
They have it in LA, right? Where they have it at in LA, the academy?
I know I know that because I'm media, like I know that they host the private workouts and stuff like that for the scouts at the old Mamba Sports Academy.
Oh, that's like Orange County though. That's not really
Yeah.
LA. That's a
And then
little.
they played that live game that they had where they had all the dudes playing against each other
Mm-hmm.
at LA Southwest College.
Got you.
So
That's.
yeah. So I was planning on going out there for that and
Mm-hmm.
also the Drew League. That was the biggest plan. But next year,
Next year, you definitely need to come out here to the Drew League, bro.
for sure.
You definitely need to come to the Drew League. It's gonna be a vibe. I'm bringing all the dogs from Philly out here for that league. So
Yeah,
we
man.
ready.
Well, like No, I mean, as much as I love the street ball games in New York, it's been great. But indoor basketball is where it's at. As
Yeah,
long as the crowds is controlled, then that makes everything
it's
better.
more crowd control. And
You know,
I think, but it was a certain parody about street ball. Like, in Philly we had 16th and Susquehanna growing up as a kid, 52nd and Parkside, then I went to 10th and Olney. It's something about street ball that's a little bit different when you outside.
yeah.
A lot of other factors. You got the wind, you got the crowd really on top of you. It's just a different environment, man.
People drinking, people blowing the weed,
Yeah,
smoking
like
hookahs,
it's
bringing out their
everything.
liquor.
Everything, man. And it's just like it's more community. Put it like that, opposed to like of a gym.
Nah, but I ain't gonna hold you. Back in the day, at least the crowds have respect for the games. They wouldn't be on the court or anything like that. But
Because they
now,
embrace the games more. It
right,
was more of an infrastructure back then when you go to these games. Like, yo, this any drama you have, leave that outside the gate. It's a
right.
hooping. We fans. You know what I mean? We just want to see good games and talk trash. That's it.
The bad part about it is they bringing the drama to the games now. Like,
It's sad, which put the players and innocent people at risk, and that's something you can. So I understand, like, just everybody transition to indoors.
yeah, man. Like, I think right now, like, and I feel like Raheem, he did the smart thing.
Yeah, he did.
Whereas, now I can preserve these kids' injuries longer. Like, a lot of people are doing open runs at these gyms now. So, like, the gyms are the smartest thing, And then also, like, yeah, like, I don't think for gyms, I don't think you need permits at all.
No, because the gym's got the insurance already, so you don't need the
Right.
permit.
So you don't need permits at all for these gyms. Like holding an outdoor tournament, that's a whole lot of work. Like you got to deal with the city, and
I
it's
was
just a lot.
out basketball in New York. Is it still good? Like, I know I got Dykeman, I got Gersh. Are those still?
No. So see, so basically once COVID-19 hit, the tournaments they shut that down. Basically the parks department they shut down like any chances of people getting permits until August 31st.
Oh, so
So however there are still events going on illegally,
mm-hmm.
but the police, the way they're doing things is, as long as there's no violence happening, they're gonna let it rock.
Mm-hmm.
So long as there's no violence.
Okay.
So that's that. But yeah, I mean, next year tournaments will be coming back. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Tournaments that we know and love will be back, and
Yeah.
I'm excited.
No,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
so this is the question that I love to ask my guests before I lead up to the final question. So, if you could go back to 2013,
Yeah.
what would you tell Tony at 22 as he's grieving the loss of his loved ones and becoming disillusioned with basketball?
Stay the course. It's all going to make sense moving forward.
I hear that, man. You don't have to say much to that at all. Final question. What's next for Tony Chennault, Mike J Films, and Chennault Productions?
Well, no. So Chennault Productions, we transitioned from Chennault Productions to my J Film, so there's no more Chennault Productions.
Mm-hmm.
But so moving forward, for me, just keep becoming the right person. A better brother, a better friend. Yeah, and in terms of my career, keep putting out a lot of content that has substance, content that give people a voice that drives the culture forward. And then Mike J Films, we got a lot of projects about to lay out. We got a film we doing Dollar Party. We supposed to do it this summer, but due to coronavirus, we had to push it back to next summer. Got a TV show that's in development, The Power I Gave You. And we have a lot of other projects on our radar as well. So we just want to keep pushing out content. Like I said, that's going to drive the culture forward and, give the generation behind us something to look forward to and something they could take it when they become of age and ready and take what we doing to new heights.
I hear that. Tone, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. And I
Bro,
wish you 8 hours, Mike J Films, nothing but the best moving forward.
appreciate you, bro. Thanks for giving me the platform.
My God. Everybody, this is episode 67 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to my guy Tony Chennault for coming on. For those from Philly, Olney, Villanova, those of you guys that are friends of his in LA, go support 8 Hours, which is coming out September 20th, which is also my mom's birthday. Oldhead on YouTube. And definitely just check him out. All of his projects, definitely check him out. Everybody stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.